Good morning, Aisha. How are you? You well?
Good morning. Yes, I'm well. Do you know what? I can see your name in the corner now, but I actually didn't ask your name.
No worries. I'm not important. People are only here to hear from you anyway. I'm just the conduit to make that happen. Listen, so we're going to make people aware of who you really are in a second. But my intro question for you was: what you're about to embark on? So many honors, so many accolades, such a life lived and still being lived. It must feel like a real honor to portray Tina Turner in the Tina Turner musical, which reopens at the Aldwych Theatre on July 28th. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's something. I could say I started the job still understudying Tina from the beginning. So even that was an honor in itself, even getting the audition to come back, because originally when I auditioned, they didn't see me for Tina. They saw me for her sister, which is the role that they ended up giving me, and then they added on being an understudy for Tina, and I was very shocked and just taken aback that someone would consider me for that, you know. And then as the years went on, and I don't know what they saw. They saw something, and I'm here now, and they've offered me the role, which I think is just it's an amazing role for anyone who does it. It's fantastic. It really breaks you down, I think, as an actor, especially in the musical theatre world, because I don't think there's anything quite like it. A lot of people would probably say or classify it as a jukebox musical. I personally wouldn't. I would say it is, and I've been in shows that have been classified as jukebox musicals, but this is very much a play with music. You know, it's really showcasing and going to the depths of a woman discovering the ugly sides, the pretty sides, the up and down sides. And we're just fortunate enough that she said yes, that we could include her music within her story, you know? Because I think, it's... Go on.
No. Sorry to cut you.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it could have been just a play about Tina, and we could have alluded to her music, you know? And it probably wouldn't have had the same impact, but it could have been a play inspired by, without her music. But I think her music adds a lot to it, and I like the way her songs have been woven into the play, because they're not necessarily in release order. They're sung to enhance the story that's being told at that very moment in time.
This whole period of lockdown has thrown out the normal chain of events, I guess, and calendar and organising it and just getting in the mix. So you looking forward to that? And how did you handle the lockdown period? It must have been, as a creative, I guess, frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating for everybody, but creatives, I find, I've handled it either very well or very badly. How are you? Yeah. Where did you sit?
I was cool with lockdown, you know. I was pretty cool. I think I tried to tell myself I wasn't stressed, but I think it came out in my body that I was stressed. And I think that was very telling to me, I think, because before lockdown, life was very stressful anyway. And I was genuinely craving a break. I was like, I just need 2 or 3 months. It's not that I'm sick or I'm over the show. I just need to breathe. I need to just find me again. And literally lockdown came about maybe within the 2 weeks. I was like hoping and praying for this. So when it did happen, even though there's been such bad news around, you know, lockdown and people unfortunately passing away and things like that, for myself personally, if I look at it as if I was the only person in the world, and there was no coronavirus, the break I embraced with open arms. Like, I was so happy just to sit with myself and just rediscover me within the 18 months. I think there's always more to like rediscover, and you always change and you get older and life presents different circumstances to you. But I don't think I've ever really had a time where everything has stopped and I've been able to be like, okay, so who's Aisha? What does Aisha want? What don't I want? What do I want to do? What if I was to never do this again, like, what would I do? What can I do? Am I more than my job? Am I my job? You know, can I reach people in other ways besides doing what I do? It really made me question myself and where I sat in the world. Like, I totally believe I'm like the tiniest influence in the world. You know what I mean? Look at the world of how many people in the world and stuff. But I just thought my job does make an impact on other people at the end of the day. It's not just to indulge with it in myself when it comes to gifts and talents. And I think that's what I personally was like, okay, so how can I continue to give of myself as a human without at the moment giving myself on stage, you know? So, but I loved it.
Period of reflection. Sounded like it was a period of reflection. I mean, it was a period of reflection for everybody, but you sound like you went to your world within. So that's a beautiful place. You touched on it already. You originally played Tina's sister. So I guess for you, and you've touched on the fact that the break did you well because you've been a part of this production since its world premiere 2018. So I can understand how the incessant workload would take its toll on one. I get it. So having had the break and now you're transitioning from playing the role of the sister to the actual title role, the lead role of Tina herself, do you feel a different sense of pressure? You haven't got into rehearsals, but you've actually experienced all of that before, so you know how this play is received, how this musical is received, the big build up to the opening night. You've been there, you've done it. So how is the fact that you're going to be transitioning roles impacting on you in terms of pressure? Is it at all? Talk to me.
Is it pressure? I think it's a big mantle to carry. And I think as someone who, I think if you're in this job, you always want to do the job to the best of your ability, right? So I think I put extra pressure on myself to make sure that I nail every song and I get every story across, even the smaller stories weaved within the bigger story, so that no one will say, oh, I didn't know about that. But I know I did say that on stage. Do you know what I mean? Like, just to really present her as fully as I can. And I think that's a precious thing that I carry gently, but also with a lot of care. And so I put pressure on myself in that sense to make sure that I do it justice every night. There is over the past couple of days, because I'm the person here who's like, are you excited to go back? And I was just like, with just everything just kind of being on the cusp of things, it happens and it doesn't happen. I was just like, when it happens, it will happen. And I don't want to wish away any time until it happens. But now that the day's getting closer, I was speaking to someone and I was like, you know what? I do feel a little bit nervous and I do feel a little bit scared that, and I don't know whether it's an accumulation of over 18 months not being in that atmosphere and now having to navigate how I communicate with people that I will see on a daily basis and how I'm going to feel not being able to just call up one of my girls and be like, yo, let's go somewhere, because I'm like, oh, I've got responsibilities. So I don't know if it's an accumulation of being scared that I'm losing some sort of freedom that I've gained within lockdown, even though lockdown hasn't necessarily been seen as a sense of freedom, but for me it has. And then I'm now giving myself to something that is, in a way, still freeing, because I get to release my artistic skills, but again, it's still very regimented at the same time. So I don't know if I'm scared that I'm losing my freedom, as well as being nervous that I'm heading back into such a show that you need to be 110% present at all times.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are struggling, or not struggling, but just that whole embracing of transitioning from a sedentary place, a place of solace, and maybe just, one where we can be more still. And the fact that that's probably served us well, or some of us well, over the last period. And now going back to this manic, frantic 24/7, everybody in your face. Yeah, it's a period of adjustment for a lot of people. So I think I actually understand where you're coming from. You're not alone. Let my story be a celebration, a reminder of our resilience and our ability to overcome hardship together. There's a quote from Tina herself, which I find interesting, and it made me wonder about which, if any, aspect of the play, the musical, her life journey, the story, resonated with you the most, and which element of this do you find easier to connect with?
I would say the first thing that got stuck to my mind, because I'm not of her age yet, and I don't think I've struggled within the workforce or the workspace. I think I've been very fortunate with what has come my way. But I would say in the aspects of relationships, toxic relationships, and those relationships being, I don't know, maybe how to put it, like a light dimmer, a light snuffer. I think I really engage with that part, because she was in relationships or situationships where her light was seen. She was seen and was like, oh, that was amazing, like I want that. And then said person, whoever had that, and then almost then said, well, no, this is only for me now. And so you can't be you with everybody else. It became a selfish thing. And so it looked like maybe to many that she was still this shining light, this shining beacon of an entertainer, of a performer, but actually slowly her light was being snuffed out, because she wasn't allowed to be her true self. And I think within the musical, within the play, that's what I resonate with the most. And how you don't always necessarily see it when you're in the situation, but she had so many people around her who were like, you need to get out of this. But because of the person that she was like, no, I've made promises and I want to do right by my promises. But actually didn't realise that those promises weren't there to serve her. They were there to serve other people. And she therefore became a slave, as opposed to an equal in someone making a promise. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if I promise you, you promise me this. Okay, so we're going to work together, and I'm always going to make sure that the best of you is coming out, and you make sure the best of them is coming out. But it kind of became a one-sided thing. But yeah, I really resonate with that. I really, really resonate with that.
You're, like I said, you're lucky enough to have been a part of this for a while. So is there a favourite part of the musical that you like, that kind of just, you love to see it performed, or you love being a part of the scene, or?
I love Nutbush.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have two versions in the show. And so it's not the Nutbush that everyone knows, like upbeat tempo. It's actually, it's near the beginning of the show, and it's been created to be more of a spiritual Nutbush. And I loved being part of it when we opened in 2018. And I loved watching it from the wings if I wasn't in that scene, because if I stepped on for Tina. And it's just, yeah, it's a really, really beautiful scene. A really, really beautiful scene.
I did wonder because sometimes actors, actresses, they like to be like, no, all of it's great, come and see all of it. So I do wonder if there's a favourite part that you like to consume. Listen, I'm always conscious of speaking to a younger audience in these interviews. You've been a part of the company, as we said, since spring 2018. Your credits outside of that include Cinderella at the Hackney Empire, Lion King at the Lyceum, Fella at the National, Motown at Shaftesbury, and many more. I like to believe that young Black girls and young Black boys out there are looking, who want to pursue a career in the arts in the way that you have. They're looking, they're Googling for who's done it like how I want to do it. And here you are, you're somebody whose success they're probably looking to emulate. So I just wonder if you can speak to that young Black boy or black girl about your journey a little bit. I mean, I know it's probably peaks and troughs and you've touched on a few elements, but as succinctly as you can, how do you stay the course, Aisha, to touch some of the, stages that you have?
How have I stayed the course? Goodness. I just sometimes, no. Within myself, I've known that this is what I wanted to do. There was no plan A, plan B. Even when I auditioned for musical theatre school, I come from a single parent background, and the fees to go to schools are ridiculous. And you know what? I've met people in the industry who haven't gone to musical theatre school, so I don't think that's the be all and end all at all. And those people are very prevalent in the industry now, and so they're easy to search or to ask questions. But I just didn't have a plan B, and I know that can sound really reckless, but I was just like, there was just something in me that said, this is it. It's like, it's this or it's nothing, and it's not to say that you can't have something else that you're also interested in, or if maybe you do have your plan A and this happens to be your plan B and it's a hobby, but actually you're thinking, no, I actually want to take this seriously. That's also cool as well. But for me personally, I didn't have a plan B. This is all I wanted to do. This is all that was really pressing on my heart to do. And you will go through a lot of rejection. I was speaking to a friend yesterday actually, and I was just saying, my industry is one of the industries that people face a lot of rejection. And you look at my CV and you may think, oh my gosh, she's been in so many things. But I think I can guarantee I've had more rejections than I've had jobs. And it looks a lot. And yes, I've worked for many years, but a lot of those contracts have been year contracts. So I haven't had to do lots of little things in between. But it's number one, just having your goal and just going for it and shutting down naysayers. Because I have many people who are like, yeah, but what if it doesn't work out? I think you should do this. And that used to make me really angry, because I was like, how dare you say that to me? Like, you don't know. But also having your clan, your fam around you, whoever your family is, whether it's blood, whether it's chosen family, who continue to speak life into you and can continue to hold you when you do face rejections, or if there's a job that you really want and you don't get it, you have people around you who can still pour into you so that this industry doesn't suck you dry and leave you empty. I think that's really, really important. And also having a place of solitude for yourself, a place where you can just speak out what's really on your heart, whether it's like good or bad, your fears, your worries, and just speak it out and know that there's a safe space in which that those words can be uttered without being judged. Yeah, I think that's what I would say. But yeah, I just, like I said, there was never a plan B for me. I never knew. I left secondary school at 15, and I applied for 2 performing arts schools because they were the only performing arts schools that I knew of. So I literally was just, if anyone wants to look back at me, or if I look back at myself, I'd be like, actually, serious? Like, you didn't really take time to research anywhere else. I was just like, oh no, these are only 2 places I know I'm going to go. And my parents are very much like, are you going to go to 6th form? And I was like, no. You're going to get an A level? No. Are you going to go to uni? No. I just knew what I wanted to do. And I think that's a blessing itself. Sometimes you know early, sometimes you don't know early, and that's okay. But once you do know, I would say just don't let go of it. Just keep going.
Sound advice. Sounds like you did have a plan B, and that was just to make plan A work.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You know, is there any final words you wanna give us, or anything you want to talk about in relation to Tina, yourself, the top, where you're going next, something you'd like to be a part of, maybe after this?
I have no idea. Do you know what? I never know what's coming next, like ever. Usually I finish a job and yeah, I never really know what's coming next, but I hope it's something good. I hope it's something I can sink my teeth in. I hope it's something that moves people, that people can resonate with, something that's deep but also has joy. So yeah, that's what I would hope for something that's next, but I don't know. I'll just see what happens, go with the flow and see where life leads me, I guess.
Well, it hasn't led you too astray. It seems like your faith in your ability and your talents and your vision has always guided you in the right direction. So may that continue. I really appreciate you talking to you, and good luck with all your success moving forward.
Thank you very much, Shal.
No worries.